I saw her do it. She thought I wasn't looking too busy setting the table. Maybe, but I saw it. My mother-in-law, Sharon, standing at the edge of the kitchen counter, holding my favorite porcelain mug, the one with the sunflowers. She opened a tiny vial. Not a spitzejar. Not vanilla extract. Something glass. Something with a dropper. She looked over her shoulder, then leaned over and squeezed a few drops into the tea. Then she stirred it carefully, smiling. Chamomile? Dear, she called out. I made it just the way you like it. Extra honey. Extra love. I walked over slowly. My heart was already racing. Thank you. Mom? I said. My voice was calm. Too calm. I reached out, took the Mugend, then glanced at the identical one beside her elbow. Gerald's. Her husband's. Without a second thought, I switched them. She didn't notice. She was too busy fussing with the napkins. That was the last moment I had before everything changed. I watched as she carried the mug. I gave her Gerald's mug into the living room with a soft hum. My hands were still shaking. I don't know what would have happened if I had taken that first sip, but I know this. If I hadn't switched the cups, I might not be here, telling you this story today. My name is Claire. I'm 30 years old. I work as a freelance designer logos, product packaging, digital branding. I build brands from scratch for people chasing their dreams. But I'd slowly stopped chasing mine, because for the past 4 years, I'd been living under someone else's roof. When Alex and I got married, we agreed to move in with his mom just for a year, to save for a place of our own. But 1 year turned into 4. Sharon said she didn't want to lose her only son. That was the way she phrased it. Like I was stealing something. She was always smiling. Always just trying to help. Dinner 6p. Sharp? Buckwarming on Tuesdays. Mail sorted by category. Everything in her house had a place. Everyone had a role. And mine? I was the guest. Even when I paid bills. Even when I renovated the upstairs bathroom with my own money. Even when I took care of her when she got the flu last winter. I was still just the guest. She never called me her daughter-in-law. Always Alex's wife. Like a temporary title. Like I hadn't really earned a place. And Alex, God bless him, he tried. He always said she was just adjusting. Or set in her ways. But slowly, I stopped correcting people when they assumed I lived with my mother-in-law. Because deep down, I did. I was married. But it didn't feel like I had a husband. I felt like I was sharing him with the woman who never wanted to let him go. The first time Sharon asked about my life insurance, I thought she was just being nosy. You know, dear, she said one morning over breakfast. You and Alex should really start thinking about the future, especially with your job being so unpredictable. Oh, she stirred her oatmeal slowly. Have you thought about coverage? Life insurance? Something solid just in case. Oh, I laughed. Awkwardly. Actually, I just signed up last month. Independent plan. Covers accidents. Illnesses. The whole package. Oh, her spoon stopped. Oh, her smile didn't reach her eyes. Well, that's responsible of you. Oh, then she stood up and started cleaning dishes that weren't dirty. I didn't think much of it at the time. Sharon was always saying things like that. Always a little condescending. Always dressed up as concern. But now, months later, I remember that moment too clearly. It wasn't just a comment, it was a shift. Because after that day, she started asking little questions. Do you usually walk alone at night when you go to your studio? Have you ever thought about how vulnerable you are when you take those nature hikes for photos? One day, I caught her staring at my insurance documents. I'd left them in a folder on the dining room table. Oh, I was just tidying up, she said quickly, snapping it shut. Didn't mean to pry. But she'd seen the policy. She knew exactly what I was worth of. Something happened to me. And every conversation after that felt colder, sharper, measured. It happened on a Sunday. Sharon had planned a big dinner, her famous roast lamb, mashed sweet potatoes, lemon pie. She said it was just family. But somehow that meant 12 people, including Alex's cousins, aunt, and his father's new wife. I had no idea I was the main event. The first sign came when I walked downstairs in a soft blue blouse I'd ironed that morning. Sharon looked me over from head to toe. Oh? She said, lips tight. No apron? I thought you'd help in the kitchen. Oh, I wasn't asked, I replied gently. She gave a cold laugh. You don't wait to be asked when it's your family. Ugh, I swallowed my pride, tied an apron around my waist, and helped stir gravy I hadn't been told existed. Then came dinner. Sharon clinked her glass. Everyone, thank you for coming, she said sweetly. I wanted to share something I found quite curious. Ugh, I felt a pit form in my stomach. Our Claire has recently taken out a life insurance policy, she said, gesturing toward me like I was an exotic animal. Such a wise move for someone in such a risky field. The room chuckled awkwardly. Tell us, Claire. Sharon pressed. How much are you worth now? A cousin snorted into his wine. I stared at her. At the table, at Alex, who looked frozen. It's private, I said softly. Oh, come now. Sharon insisted. We're all family. Nothing to hide. Right? And just like that, I was the outsider again. The guest. The liability. I felt my face flush hot as I stood up from the table and walked out to the porch. No one followed. Not even Alex. Inside, I could hear Sharon saying, she's sensitive. Always has been. Must be the artistic temperament. I'll quote, and the sound of laughter soft. Muffled. Cruel. I didn't sleep that night. I lay awake next to Alex, staring at the ceiling while he snored softly beside me, as if nothing had happened. I kept hearing Sharon's voice. Tell us, Claire. How much are you worth now? The laughter. The way no one defended me. The next morning, I took my laptop and went to a coffee shop downtown. I couldn't stand being in that house another second. I told Alex I had a client meeting. That was a lie. I just needed air. Space. Sanity. That's when I saw her. Vanessa. She was Alex's cousin's wife. We weren't close, but she always seemed kind. Sharp. Like she noticed things and didn't say them out loud. She spotted me and walked over. Rough night? She asked gently. I gave a weak smile. You saw it too? Huh? She sat down. Claire. Sharon's been doing that kind of thing for years. He blinked. Excuse me? Vanessa leaned in. She did it to me too. Not about insurance, but manipulation. Little digs in front of people. Gaslighting. Making me feel like a burden in front of the whole family. Oh, I swallowed hard. Did anyone believe you? No, she said. Not until I started keeping records. Oh, I looked at her. Stunned. Claire? She said, her voice calm but firm. If something feels off, it probably is. Don't let her twist your mind. Don't let her make you question your own instincts. Oh, and then she added, check your tea. Seriously? Oh, I froze. What? She gave a half smile. Stood up and walked away. But in that moment, I felt something I hadn't felt in weeks. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't alone. Someone believed me. I started small. I knew if I confronted Sharon without proof, she'd turn it into me being unstable or dramatic. So I did what Vanessa suggested. I checked the tea. The cup I'd switched with Gerald's, I'd hidden it in the back of my closet that night. Untouched. The next day, I took it to a friend, Jason, who worked in a lab downtown. We'd collaborated once on a design project for his clinic, and I knew he owed me a favor. What am I testing for? He asked, raising an eyebrow. Anything strange? I said, something that shouldn't be in herbal tea? He didn't press. Just nodded and promised to call. That same night, I did something I hadn't dared do in months. I opened Sharon's office drawer. She kept it locked. I'd seen her check it obsessively. But earlier that week, I'd noticed she'd forgotten to remove the key. Inside were folders, neatly labeled medical records, tax returns, and then insurance. Not just mine. Gerald's, Alex's, even her late husband's. Everything meticulously recorded dates, payout amounts, policy types. And then I saw it. A yellow post-it note, scribbled in her tidy, cursive, Claire, updated policy confirmed. Accidental clause included. Call agent next week for processing timeline. End quote. My blood ran cold. This wasn't just paranoia. She was tracking me, planning around me, preparing. The door was already ajar when I got home. Sharon stood in the hallway, arms crossed, eyes like knives. Looking for something? My throat tightened. She held up the yellow post-it note. You've been going through my things? I didn't speak. There was no point lying. I should have known. She hissed. Always snooping. Always assuming the worst about me. Oh, I opened my mouth. But she cut me off. Your paranoia is exhausting. You need help. Claire. And Alex stepped into view from the living room. His face was blank. She told me what you did, he said. She said you went through her personal drawers. Accused her of what? Trying to hurt you? He let out a short, humorless laugh. Claire, you're not well. And I looked between themmy husband and his mother standing like a united front. My voice cracked. You don't even want to know what I found? I want my wife back, Alex said. The woman I married? Not this paranoid stranger. Oh, Sharon touched his arm gently. She's been under a lot of pressure, she said sweetly. It's not her fault, but maybe some space would help. Oh, Alex nodded. Maybe it would. Oh, and just like that, they made me the problem. I was no longer the woman who loved him. I was the threat. That night, I packed a small bag and left the house. No one stopped me. I spent 3 nights at a cheap motel on the edge of town. Dingy walls, stiff sheets. But it was quiet. And it was mine. No one followed. No one called. It was like I had disappeared. Then on the 4th morning, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. But I did. Claire? It's Jason. My heart jumped. We finished the analysis. He said, "There's definitely something in the tea." I sat down slowly on the edge of the bed. What is it? Benzodiazepines. A small but potent dose. Could cause drowsiness? Confusion. Short-term memory loss especially dangerous if mixed with alcohol. My mouth went dry. That's prescription stuff. I said, "Yep. Controlled substance. Shouldn't be an herbal tea." He paused. "Claire, do you need help? Like, actual legal help?" I closed my eyes. "Not yet. But I need the report. In writing. Certified. Hill, you'll have it by tomorrow." Hill. When I hung up, I stared at the wall for a long time. She had drugged me. I hadn't imagined it. I wasn't losing my mind. She had tried to make me sick. Maybe worse. And now, I had proof. For the first time in weeks, I had power. I didn't call ahead. I just showed up. Sharon was in the garden, pruning hair roses, still in pearls and lipstick, still playing the part of the perfect Southern hostess. She looked up and smiled like nothing had happened. "Claire, you're back." Not really," I said. She straightened up. "Alex isn't home." "Good." "I didn't come to see him." I followed her into the kitchen. Saturday down at the Marble Island like I had 100 times before. Only this time, I opened my bag and placed a sealed envelope on the counter. Sharon paused, wiping her hands on a dish towel. "What's this? A toxicology report?" I said flatly. "From the tea you made me." And her face didn't move, but her hands did. Just slightly. "Claire? That's absurd. And it's certified." I said. "From a licensed lab. The test showed benzos, a controlled substance." And she narrowed her eyes. "You think I would drug you? Why? What possible reason? Because you knew about the policy." I interrupted. "Because you asked about it?" "Read it." "Memorized the payout clauses. And because you've done this kind of thing before." Oh, that last line hit her like a slap. "I don't know what Vanessa told you. Vanessa didn't have to tell me anything." I said. "Your drawer did. Your files? Your handwritten notes?" Oh, silence. "I'm not here to argue," I said. Calmly. "I'm here to give you a choice." Her eyes flashed. "What choice?" "You back off. You stop lying. You stop trying to turn Alex against me. And if you don't," I tapped the envelope, "this goes to the police, and to Alex, and to every person in your little bridge club." For a moment, I saw fear in her eyes. Just a flicker. "You wouldn't dare," she whispered. I leaned in. "Try me." Then I stood up and walked out without another word. It took her less than 24 hours. Less than a day to twist the story into something new. That night, Alex showed up at my motel room. He didn't knock gently. He pounded. When I opened the door, his eyes were already full of fire. "What the hell were you thinking?" I didn't answer. I stepped aside. He walked in like a storm. You threatened my mother. Showed up unannounced and blackmailed her? She drugged me. Alex. He froze. What? I have the lab report. Jason tested the tea. There were benzos in it. Oh. He shook his head. No. No. Claire. She said you'd say that. She said you'd try to frame her. She showed me messages. Screenshots. Oh. My heart stopped. What messages? She said you texted threats. That you've been spiraling for weeks. That you went through her private files, which proved she was tracking my insurance. You're paranoid. He snapped. That word again? Like a slap? I tried to breathe. To speak calmly. Alex. She wants me out of your life. Out of the picture. Maybe even out of this world. Oh. He turned away. I think we need time, he said. Space. Oh. I felt my chest tighten. Are you saying you want to separate? He didn't answer. Just walked to the door. Opened it. And looked back once. I don't know who you are anymore. Oh. Then he left. And I stood there. In a cheap motel room. Alone. Watching everything I built burn around me. I let myself fall apart for one night. Just one. I cried until there was nothing left in me. I stared at the ceiling of that cheap motel and let the pain do whatever it wanted. But by morning, I wasn't broken. I was clear. If they wanted a war, I wouldn't give them rage. I'd give them truth. I texted Jason. Can you notarize the report? I'll pay. End quote. He replied in under 5 minutes. Done. Already filed a copy with my legal team in case anything happens. End quote. I felt the first ripple of safety. Then I called Vanessa. She didn't sound surprised. I figured this was coming. She said, You ready to end it? Not just end it. I said, Expose it. Oh, she offered to give me her recordings. Turns out, Sharon had ranted more than once in earshot of her phone. Next, I contacted the insurance company directly. Not as a complaint, but as a formal inquiry. I'm the policyholder. I said, I need to know if anyone else has contacted you about my plan. Oh, the woman on the line hesitated. Ma'am, we did receive a call 2 weeks ago from someone claiming to be your financial representative. End quote. Name? A Sharon Whitmore. My hands trembled. But my voice didn't. Thank you. Please email me a record of that communication. Then I reached out to a lawyer I once did freelance work for Miss Yans. Koenig. Claire? She asked. You okay? Not yet. I said. But I'm getting there. She agreed to meet me the next day. By noon, I had a certified toxicology report, a voicemail of Sharon discussing my unreliability, records from the insurance call, 3 people willing to testify about her behavior. I wasn't just gathering proof. I was building a reckoning. And I wasn't afraid anymore. I invited them all. Not to a confrontation, not to a fight, but to the truth. Saturday evening. My friend Lily offered her apartment. It was neutral ground. Quiet. And spacious enough for a family meeting. And Versat. Alex came. Stiff and quiet. Sharon arrived late. With a pie in her hands and poison in her smile. Gerald came too out of obligation. Not interest. Vanessa was already there. Along with her husband and Miss Koenig. Milavier. Quietly sitting at the corner with a folder on her lap. I stood in the middle, calm, focused. Thank you all for coming. I began. Sharon rolled her eyes. Let's not make this dramatic. Dear, you've clearly had a tough few weeks. I raised a hand. Let's not waste time. I have something to show everyone. Oh. I connected my laptop to the television. Clicked on the first file. A voicemail recording. Sharon's voice. Unmistakable. Discussing how Claire's instability will ruin Alex if we let it continue. Then a second clip. Vanessa had captured Sharon on video at a brunch. Mocking me. Hinting at wishing she'd just get sick enough to leave. Next. The certified toxicology report. On screen, with the lab's official stamp. Then, the recorded call log from the insurance company, confirming Sharon had impersonated a financial rep. The room went silent. Alex sat frozen. Vanessa's husband looked down. Ashamed. And Sharon? Her face drained of color. This is a setup, she snapped. You edited this. This is slander. I didn't flinch. You don't need to admit anything. I said, everything I've shown tonight is verifiable. Witnessed. Certified. Oh, she turned to Alex. You believe this? After everything I've done for you? He didn't speak. He just looked at me. I opened the final folder and handed it to him. Inside, the statement from Jason. Copies of emails. Testimonies from Vanessa and 2 other family members. Alex's hands trembled. Is this real? He asked. It's all real. I said, and now you get to decide what kind of man you want to be? Is tackler. Sharon stood abruptly, knocking her chair over. You ungrateful brat. After all I've done. Miss. Kunigro slowly. Miss. Whitmore. She said calmly. I advise you to sit down. And for the first time in her life, Sharon did. The room didn't explode. It cracked quietly. Like glass under pressure. Sharon said nothing else. Gerald avoided my eyes. Alex sat with the folder in his lap. Silent. The weight of it pressing into his conscience. I need time, he said finally. I nodded. Take all the time you want. But know this when you come back. If you come back, it won't be the same. I stood. I'm done playing house. Done. Walking on eggshells. From now on, if you're in my life, it's with boundaries. I turned to Sharon. You will not call me. You will not contact me. You will not speak to me unless I initiate it. And if I ever hear of you interfering with my insurance, my work, or my name again, there will be legal consequences. She opened her mouth. No, I said. Not this time. Her lips snapped shut. I took a deep breath. Vanessa. Thank you. Koenig. I'll be in touch. Everyone else, you know who you are. I hope you do better. And then I left. I walked out, not like a victim. Not like a wife begging for space, but like a woman reclaiming her life. And for the first time in years, I felt whole. I moved into a 1-bedroom apartment near the park. It had creaky floors, ugly wallpaper, and a leaky faucet, but it was mine. No one told me when to vacuum. No one commented on my outfits. No one accidentally read my mail. For the first time in years, I woke up without anxiety in my chest. I worked in silence. I cooked what I wanted. I listened to my favorite music as loud as I liked. I began to design again. Really design. Not just for clients, but for me. I created a new brand identity for an eco-startup. It went viral. The founders gave me a full-time contract. I opened a savings account under my name only. I started therapy. I went to sleep when I wanted. And one rainy Thursday afternoon, I sat in my little kitchen, hand on my belly, staring at the second pink line on a pregnancy test. I laughed. Not because I was scared, but because I felt ready. I was going to be a mother, but not the kind of mother who needed to control everything. I would protect. I would guide, but I would never possess. And when I looked at my reflection in the microwave, door blurry and tired but alive, I whispered to myself, "You made it." End quote. And for once, I believed it. The day I told Alex I was pregnant, he stood in the doorway of my apartment, holding a grocery bag like it was a shield. "You're sure?" he asked. I nodded. "I'm not here to ask for anything," I said. "Not your money. Not your help. I just thought you should know." End quote. He didn't speak for a while. Then he set the bag down. "Claire, I was wrong." End quote. His voice cracked. "I let her poison more than just your tea. I let her poison my mind." End quote. I didn't cry. I didn't say, "I told you so." End quote. I just listened. Over the next few months, Alex came back not with grand gestures, but with consistency. He came to doctor's appointments. He read every parenting book he could find. He apologized. Not once, but again and again. Not because I needed to hear it, but because he needed to say it. Sharon never apologized, but she stayed away. She sent a baby blanket in the mail. No note. No visit. It was enough. When our daughter was born, Elena Grace I held her close and whispered, "You will never grow up doubting your worth." Oh, Alex stood beside me, eyes wet, fingers trembling as he touched her tiny hand. We didn't pretend we had a perfect family. We didn't forgive what couldn't be undone. But we started over together on honest ground. I didn't just survive what they did. I transformed. Not by changing them, but by refusing to let them change me. And as I rocked my daughter to sleep in that tiny apartment, moonlight spilling across the floor, I knew they didn't win, because I never gave them the power to define me. I did that myself. Sometimes, the deepest betrayal doesn't come from strangers. It comes from those who claimed they were doing it for your own good. Claire didn't fight back with anger. She didn't seek revenge through cruelty. She reclaimed her life through honesty, through courage, and by refusing to let manipulation define her story. What about you? Have you ever had to draw a boundary with someone you loved? Tell us in the comments. Your story might help someone going through the same storm. And if this story touched you, please hit that like button. Subscribe for more powerful, real-life inspired stories like this one. Thank you for watching. Until next time, live boldly, love bravely, and never let anyone write your ending but you.